Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. And as you can see, I'm playing my Cleric again. I'm actually over in the Orc Hill in Greater Faydark. It's a pretty nice place for level 4, to probably around 6 or 7. Beyond that, you probably want to go inside Crushbone. You don't have to, you could stay out here if you really wanted to, but my suggestion would be to head on inside. You're going to get more experience, and you're going to find a lot more groups in there. I actually had to put this group together myself. There wasn't one here when I logged on. It's pretty late, so that's probably why. Though if you walk inside Crushbone, plenty of groups to be had. Unfortunately, they're all just a little bit too high for me. I need to be around level 6 probably to get into those groups on a regular basis. But you can go in there sooner. I know I've put together groups out here to hunt at the Orc Hill, and then we see we're doing really well, so we're like, let's go inside Crushbone and kill them there. If you guys watch my videos, you've actually seen that happen while we're playing. We go in there, find a little spot that nobody's camping, or wait until one's open, take it for ourselves. There's 1 or 2 good spots in there you can do at level 4 to 5 with a decent group. But for the most part, you want to stay out here. It's pretty easy. Occasionally you'll get a hard orc that will spawn, and if you can take those pretty good, or take them at all, then you know you're probably ready to head on inside, or you're going to get a lot more of those, and get a lot more experience. But you want to ease into it. You don't want to do it too much of a rush, because if you die, you know you're going to lose experience, and you're going to lose time having to run back, and if you're too low to even in there in the first place, you maybe not be able to clear the trash mob at the entrance, and you won't even be able to get to your corpse unless somebody clears it for you. So heal this guy up. Now we actually have 2 enchanters and 2 clerics in this group. Demiro, which is me, and then Reg here is a cleric, and the 2 guys in green robes are the enchanters. And then we have a druid and a monk. So with that combination, we got the healing covered clearly, and the tanking we could use a little bit more, and we probably could use a little bit more DPS too, but it's going alright for out here. Inside, I wouldn't want to take it inside Crushbone just yet with this group. Maybe if I was higher level, at level 5, I'll get my new heal spell, and at that level then possibly I'll head on inside, because the healer can actually go to zones a lot sooner than he probably should, because 1, he's not actually attacking the enemy, so neither his spells nor his melee weapon actually have to land. And at a certain level, you get your new heal spell, and then you'll keep that heal spell for 4, 5, 6 levels. And at the moment you get that heal spell, you are now able to heal just as good as any cleric within that level range that's using that same heal spell. Of course, a little bit off because they have a little bit more power than you and be able to take hits a little bit better if things go bad. But for the most part, if the group is okay and you have a decent pooler and a decent tank and things are going well, even a low-level healer can still manage to heal the group just fine. So they're usually more leeway on that. Just making sure I'm not missing anything in group chat. A little bit more leeway on the healers. Being a little lower level than most classes. You don't want a low-level tank if everybody else is real high. You just won't be able to tank the creatures you really want to tank without taking enormous amounts of hits. The same thing for like an enchanter. If the enchanter can't mez the creatures, then he can still give you the KEI, the clarity kind of stuff, but you really want him to be able to mez as well, and so then he needs to be around the same level as the stuff you're fighting. So unless you're a healer type like a druid or shaman, you're going to have to be, either higher level or as equal to the creatures you're killing, which kind of sucks, but it does allow certain classes to get in there sooner. My power is taking forever to go up. And I'm almost level 5, actually. 1 more level. I even have the spells on me. There we go. So I got my new light heal, new attack, summon drink, gate, which is always nice to have, stun, holy armor, and reckless strength. So looking forward to getting those in about a bubble and a half. Now remember, even though you get a new spell, new heal, it's actually going to use more power than the previous heal spell. So usually at higher levels, I would actually have 3 heal spells up. I would have my complete heal. Okay, they're talking to him. Yeah, I would have my complete heal for the big emergency heal, or not emergency, the big heals on my tank, my warrior, my paladin, my shadow knight. The guys who have the enormous amounts of hit points, because that's what they're there for. They're like the meat shield. I would use that on them. And you'd have to time it right because it's a 10-second cast on it. And then I would have a heal spell that did a great deal of healing, probably the most healing I could possibly have, like a superior heal. But it used more power than a complete heal. And you're like, why would you ever want to use that? Well, it casts faster. So in an emergency situation, you use that, and you save the tank. Preferably get them back up to a point where you can time it again for the next complete heal, and then keep using those. And then I have a very small heal that heals very quickly, you know, like within a second if that. It doesn't do very much health, but it will usually save him in a pinch, you know, because even the superior heals will take, you know, 2, 3, 4 seconds to cast sometimes. That may not just... He may just need that extra little bit of life. The creature's almost dead, he just needs that little sliver of life to stay alive, and you just can't cast it in time unless you have a smaller heal. You know, it doesn't do quite as much, so that's why most people won't have it, but it does take up a slot, and I've always found 3 heal spells to pretty much take care of any situation that has ever arisen. Don't really need more than that. But you're welcome to go with whatever suits your taste. You know, as I get to higher levels, I'll show you exactly what I mean, you know, by using those spells the way I do. But if you guys have a different playstyle, you know, put down in the comments. I would love to hear how you play a cleric. You know, if there's any tips or tricks you have for the people who are watching. He needs to go smoke a cigarette, so yeah, that sucks. They were all poached. So it's busy here tonight. A lot of people soloing, try to get people together in a group, and just not a lot of takers at first, you know, because people don't want to put the time in a lot of the time, especially at this low level. People just don't know how. Like, they've never played the game, so they're just learning, and they're very intimidated by a group, you know, especially when somebody's putting one together. They're like, oh, is something supposed to happen? Am I supposed to pull? And when you get like a couple people together that, let me heal this guy real quick. You get a couple people together to start a group, you don't necessarily actually have to pull and kill things while you're waiting. You're literally just waiting for other people to show up, and if you can build up enough momentum, like one person joins your group, you got 2 people. Both of you are kind of feeling that this thing could go sideways at any time, people could little fall apart. You know, if one person's left, you're back by yourself. But when the third person joins, he doesn't know how long the 2 of you have been there. He may think that you guys have been there for a while, or that you guys just put this group together, so it got some momentum going, so it doesn't feel as bad to him. And then the 4th person joining, he doesn't know any of that, and he just feels like this group is coming together, and he got good vibes, and the whole momentum starts rolling along. So getting people together, even if 2 people have to sit there for 30 minutes, it does make a difference. You know, as more and more people join, they don't realize how long you've been waiting and things of that sort. So you know, just be patient. I always look at it this way. I could be sitting there by myself looking for a group, or I could be sitting there with another person looking for a group. And I'd rather have the company because it's not as boring. And you could both complain about how there's no groups tonight and all this other stuff. So, you know, you can kind of misery loves company kind of thing. But, you know, don't be afraid to start a group, even if it doesn't work. It doesn't work, but you didn't lose anything by trying. Unless, of course, you gave up the opportunity to join another group because you were already building one together. So, plus, if you start a group in a zone, yeah, mana regen is pretty low right now. If you start a group early on, and you're the leader, you have a lot more say in where you're going. So if you're in Seb and you want to go down to a certain room to hunt a certain named creature to get a certain item, you know, when people are like, okay, where are we going? You can just blurt it out, and that's where we're going. If they don't like it, they could leave. You're not being mean. You're just letting them know that that's where you intend to go. And of course, you can do that because you're the leader. When you join a group, you always ask the same question, and of course, the leader will tell you, you know, oh, it's up for whatever you guys want to do, or I want to go to this specific room, and then you can decide whether you're going to stay or not. So it does give you a little bit more power in deciding where you want to go and what creatures you want to kill. So if you're really, really looking forward to something, then by all means, start your own group, put it together. It's really not that hard. You know, the classes you need are pretty simple. You need a tank, you need a healer, and if you're going to go into someplace really, really hard, some crowd control, but that's optional. And the rest of the ones are simply, you know, fitting, you know, into your group however you can find them. You know, if it's a necro or a wizard or a mage or, you know, whatever that can do damage, you know, they're all optional classes that you can throw in there. They all bring their own something to the table, so they're all kind of nice to have at certain times, especially if you're going to different places. You may want to bring certain classes with you. But for the most part, you know, it's not really that picky. Especially on healers, you know, I kind of talk up clerics because that's the class I played for the longest time, and I really like them. But the cleric can be replaced with a druid, with a shaman, even a paladin at a pinch. You know, if your group is really, you know, overpowered, paladin can be more than enough healing. So, you know, no class is really definite. It's just the genre or whatever that you would say that class represents. You need a healer, and it doesn't matter what kind of healer. And then of course you need a tank, and it wouldn't matter what kind of tank. You got Law Mez, yeah, you got some Law Mez. He was trying to do that earlier, and the Law really wasn't working too well for him. All these creatures were red to us. We were both the same level, and it seemed like almost every single one would resist. And that's something you run into. Like I said before, if you're lower level than the creature, your spells are going to be resisted. You're not going to be a lot of good to the team or to the group because as a caster, you just can't hit the creature if you're too far, you know, low level underneath it. You know, so yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I can't talk tonight. I don't know why. One of those nights, I guess. I'll have to be doing multiple recordings to make sure this doesn't come out bad. But it really is just a great game. It's very relaxing. There's no pressure right now. Although if you want pressure, there's plenty of zones you can go to and really difficult pools and bad guys that you have to use tactics. Everybody rushes to one side of the wall during a certain part, rushes to the other side, and you have to stand behind him and watch out for his area effects, make sure you cure this and cure that as he dots everybody. I mean, it can get really, really complicated. So if that's what you're looking forward to, this game has it. But it also can be very relaxing because, like with anything, it's difficult when you first start, but then as you do it more and more, it becomes easier and easier. And, you know, it may be difficult when you break into a room to go all the way down and then break that room of like 5 mobs and space it out so that you can kill them easier as it spawns. That part may be difficult, but once you're in the room, and you've been killing for a few hours and everything's going real smooth and everything's spaced out and you guys are really at full power the whole time and nobody's really trying that hard because everything is the way it needs to be, then it's real nice and relaxing. Like you could put on a movie or some music and just listen to that or watch the movie while you play the game. But those are usually times where I take the you know, as much opportunity as I can to get to know the people I'm playing with, because that is really interesting. That's when you'll find out some things that you just never could have imagined. Some people have accents on the game, you know, by the way they talk. If they say you guys or y'all or things like that, that comes across through the computer with just the words. You can kind of tell where they're from. But then some people you'll be talking to and you have no clue where they're from, but they sound like they're, you know, could be from your neighborhood. And then you find out that they're from Egypt or from Africa or Australia or wherever. That's completely different from where you're at, and it just blows your mind that they speak better English than you do, or they just as good English, or they speak Spanish over there, or they speak Italian over there, and it's like, wow, I never knew that. That's not something you hear about on the news. It's not something you learn about in school as readily as the other stuff that they teach you. So it's kind of cool that way. You also get to find out what's going on over there just by becoming friends with them, you know, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, it's been raining over here for the past week. Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, it kind of sucks that it's been raining for a week, but it's cool to find out what's been going on in the rest of the world besides just that little narrow view that you find out from the news and the newspaper and things of that sort. So I think everybody here is sleeping. regardless, but... I feel so sorry for this guy. This guy's been looking for a port to North Piranhas for like an hour now. It is a pretty weird place to get a port to. It's not one of the common ones like Antonica, you know, East Commons, places people go to on a regular basis, on a daily basis. You'll find ports to those more often because people are already porting back and forth between those for themselves, so they don't mind. But North Piranhas, I don't think I went there but a few times back in the day when I was actually playing hardcore and got all the way to max level. There's just not a whole lot there for you to do. Can't wait till I get my new heal spell. Almost there. One more bubble. But you see, like right now, I cast my heal spell. Let's see how much power it uses in my bubble. About half a bubble, a little bit less than half a bubble. And I bet you more than anything, when I get my new heal spell now, it's going to heal more than 10% of the people's life. But I bet you it's going to take like 2 bubbles to cast, if I remember right. It's something insane that you just, you know, can't really live without, but it's just such a penalty for casting it that you're like, ugh, that sucks. And that's when you start to have more than one heal spell. That's your big heal spell, and then you got your small heal spell. So when you don't have the power to cast that big one, you kind of want to save up for it because you're going to get more bang for your buck, more healing for your power. But at the same time, if that's all you got and your tank's about to die, use it. You know, that's save his life, even at the detriment to your own power, and then at the end of the fight, just be like, hey guys, I need to med up, or say, hey, if you want to keep going a pull, you're going to die because I just don't have any, you know, power to heal you. So, for the most part, the tanks, they don't want to die any more than any other class. They realize that as a tank or the puller, they're going to die probably about 10 times, if not more than 10 times, than any other class, because the puller will often go off and grab something, get it over its head, and instead of just wiping the whole group, because he realizes that if he dies at later levels, he can literally just die in a certain spot that the creatures will pay back and leave his corpse there, give somebody permission to consent, /consent is how you do it, and then the person's name, and they will be granted permission to pull your corpse from wherever it's at. So you want to make sure you only give that to people you trust, because, you know, that could be really sticky. They pull your corpse and set it someplace, you know, you can't find, because obviously you weren't there when they pulled it. And then on top of that, they can put it someplace like right underneath a mob and just be incredibly hard to get to, even if you did know where it was. But the idea is that they will pull it back to the group. The Cleric will then res you, buff you up, wait for res effect to disappear, and then you're off pulling again. Whereas if you pull all that back to the group and then the group wipes, not only does everybody have to run back to the spot, but everybody has to work their way back down there from... Hold on a second. Everybody has to work their way back down there, basically in their underwear. They don't have any armor on, so they'll be taking hits very, very hard and not doing very much in return, as far as like the tanks go. And the casters will be severely limited with the amount of power they have available because their armor's not there either. So it's usually faster and less loss of time and experience if the tank just, you know, just takes one for the team basically and dies, so everybody else doesn't. So in that regard, even at later levels where you can get like a 96% heal, you'll be losing 4% when that happens. So it really comes down to how good of a puller are you? How well do you know the zone that you're pulling? When you first start in a zone, let people know when you join a group that, hey, you haven't pulled this zone before. A lot of the other people will have classes that they pull with, and they'll give you tips, you know, like, hey, do this room first, or watch out for this roamer, or check this corner, or the paving is off here and there. You get a lot of information from other people, and as you become more and more familiar with that zone, then you won't have to say that anymore. You'll be like, yeah, I pulled this zone up just fine, and you'll actually lessen the amount of times you die because you're very, very good at pulling that zone. But, you know, don't ever be afraid as a tank to die, or even as any other class. You know, it's I see a lot of these people, especially casters, who just never get hit. They don't know how to handle it when they finally do get in a group. And I understand when you get hit at higher levels, like a wizard, he can lose like 3 bubbles in one hit because these creatures will actually like triple hit in one hit. So they're actually get hit 3 times for every 1 hit that they actually hit you. So that can be very, very nasty. Let me tell them I'm out of mana. That can be very, very nasty very quickly for them. So they're just like start running around like they're like a chicken with their head cut off. It's pretty weird to see. I mean, it's ridiculous because what I used to tell mage that I used to group with all the time back in the day is, if you're running around, then at least run around in a circle around me. Because if you get at a range of me, I can't heal you. Like, I don't know where you're at. Even if I do know where you're at, if I'm running after you, I can't stop and heal, which means you're going to die. So literally just stop where you're at. You know, if you're going to die, you're going to die. There's not a whole lot you can do about it by running. That's not going to limit the amount of damage he's doing. In fact, that's increasing it because your back is turned to him. So just stop. Let me heal you if I can. If not, then die somewhere in the area that we're hunting. Like if you're running around, you die someplace really far away. I can't just res you. We have to get consent from you. You get the tank to drag your body over here. Then I can res you. It adds more steps along the way rather than just me click, you're resed, we're back in the groove of things. So sometimes, you know, just don't be afraid of death. It sucks, clearly, because you're going to lose all that experience. But if you have a cleric in the group, you really don't lose that much. And it's far better than just running off and bad things happen to people who run off. I've seen it several dozen times. People run off. They don't know the area because they're not poolers. They think they knew the area because they worked their way down here. They took one wrong turn down a hallway, fallen off a cliff, landed in water and lava. The body's never heard from again. I mean, it's nasty. If you don't know the area, it can be very, very bad. So again, my suggestion is to simply stay put in bad situations like that. At the very least, if you die next to everybody else, then if you do have like a rogue or somebody who can sneak by and get everybody's body, they know where everybody is. They can just pull everybody from that one room all the way back up to the top and res and stuff like that. But if you run off someplace weird, he won't know where you're at. You try to describe it to him, and you know, he's not willing to die again just because you went into some weird spot, and now the creatures you're parked under actually see through his sneak or his invis. You know, so now we're gonna have to actually get everybody together, res everybody. You're gonna have to be there naked, waiting for us to fight our way back down and into a different section of the whole place. Seen that happen so many times. It's just really, really bad when it does. It's funny though. I mean, when it's not happening to you. When it's you, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. Why did I do that? So we got more people who want to join. Since I'm low on drinks, I'm going to need to summon someone I finally get that spell. Of course, you can always buy some from the NPCs up there. What do you think? Good job not breaking mez. You guys want split on or off? Off. See, so most people prefer that off, like I've said many, many times. Copper just weighs so much in this game, and it doesn't convert over like in other games. So you will literally have 500, 600, 700 copper on your body instead of converting it over to gold and silver and, you know, platinum or whatever the case may be, as much copper as you have. So, and for monks, it really is detrimental. It actually affects their stats the more they're overweight. So usually if a monk joins your group and you have anybody who has split on, the very first words out of their mouth is turn that off. Because they just can't handle it. They can't have it on. Let's see, what level is this guy? He's yellow. Too bad we don't have any more space. Close to the level. a bubble. I'll leave that up there. Now, another thing to consider when you leave a group is if you're the leader, you need to make somebody else the leader before you leave. If I just click disband, it will disband the whole group because I'm the leader. So to make somebody else leader, you do / make leader space, and then whoever you want to make the leader, their name. So when you do disband, they will now have the rights to invite more people, do whatever they need to do. See, that right there is the monk. He's at a 14 out of 15 pounds, so his strength is only 15, where we have 65 pounds that we can have. He only has 15. So you can see just how quickly you would get completely so overweight. Right now we have 38 pounds, and we really don't have that much on us other than some backpacks and stuff. So a monk is one of those classes that if it's going to be your first class, you are really going to be hurting, because for the most part you don't ever have the weight, you don't ever have the space to loot, which means you can't really make money. You can't even take a split, and you don't really ever want to loot a corpse, even for the silver, or even gold sometimes, because like you see, he has 1 pound of leeway. So with that said, you know, that's not really a good class to start with, you know, because you're going to be very poor. Unless you join like a guild, and maybe then they can kind of share the wealth. I know as a cleric, if you're looking for money, a cleric or even an enchanter is probably #1 on the entire list. Enchanters, probably druids and clerics will be tied. Druids probably a little bit more than clerics, because not only can druids heal, or not heal, res, they can also teleport. And teleports are high in demand, because this isn't one of those games where you can just, you know, zap to wherever you want to go. This is one of those games where you have to walk and run and take a boat and fly and do all these really long, drawn-out methods to getting where you're going, because they're trying to go for that realistic feel, rather than just, you know, click on the porting book that somehow magically teleports you there, which is nice. It saves you a lot of time, but I feel that when they came out with those, and like the Plane of Knowledge and things of that sort, the game changed dramatically, because a lot of these zones that people always had to run through, and therefore they had, you know, people were reselling and, you know, getting into groups and things of that sort, just died overnight. Because why would you run through those zones anymore? You can zap to exactly where you want to go and bypass all those zones in between. And so it was kind of like the death of a way of life. Granted, a lot of people enjoyed it, but at the same time, it did change the game to where I didn't feel it was exactly what I was looking for anymore. So every change like that dramatically alters the perception and the feel of the game. So even as bad as it is, just be thankful you have it, because in later editions they took that kind of stuff out, and I think they lost a little something before, you know. So that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your guys' take on it, whether you think it's still a really good game, as far as with those things still in there, is, you know, zapping around. Do you like that more than oh, there's some food right there, thankfully. Do you like that more than, you know, taking the boat? Was the boat just such a hassle for you? Did you really just despise doing that? Or did you kind of enjoy it and you kind of miss it? You know, either way is fine. I mean, the game's not made so that everybody enjoys every aspect of it. It's made by a whole bunch of people in the hopes that the majority of the people out there will find it enjoyable. I think nowadays people are too, you know, obsessed with everybody being happy about everything that you do, everything you say, everything that you stand for, and it's not possible. There's too many people out there that like too many different things. You're never going to be able to please everybody. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to please people, but, you know, accept the fact that you're never going to achieve ultimate success in that field. You know, you're never going to please every single person on this planet. It's never been done. So very close to level 5. And then we'll probably go ahead and stop the video there once we get to level 5. And I'll start up another video so that you guys can see just how good those spells are and things of that sort. This video's probably been going on for about 40 minutes now, so I don't want to make it too long for you guys. Plus, if you guys want to leave down the comments whether you like shorter videos or longer videos, do you like it just camping a certain spot, or you guys like me exploring a whole new zone? You like to hear you know, tidbits about the creatures, or do you guys like to hear stories about the old days that I've experienced and things of that sort? I got a ton of them. I mean, when you play a game this long, for as many years as I played it, you know, you have plenty of stories that can be had, and just some really good times and some really bad ones too. You meet some really horrible people as well, so it's not all good, but for the most part. Looking for a bind, Newberry at 10 gold. That's 1 platinum. Nobody's asked to join the group. I guess they're counting how many people are here and realizing there's just no spots open. But for the most part, if you're not sure, just /say, and then, hey, is there any spots open for a level blah blah blah, you know, whatever class you are, cleric, enchanter, necromancer, whatever it may be, and then hit enter and see if what they say. Most parts, or most of the time, they will reply back to you and say, you know, not right now, or yeah, there is, or no, there's a waiting list though. At higher levels, there's usually a waiting list that somebody else has come by and say, hey, can you put my name on the waiting list? I'll go sit at the zone entrance. I'll go, you know, sell at the bank, and then I'll gate back when you're ready. If you got a spot open, just give me a tell, and I'll come running for whatever I was doing. You know, that's the kind of commitment that you're giving them when you say, put me on the waiting list. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be there when you do. I've done it myself, where you go down there and you put your name on the waiting list for every room, and if any spots open up in the zone, basically you're on the waiting list for it, and eventually somebody calls you, you get into that group, and then somebody later on says, hey, you know, there's a spot open in this other group, and then you have to decide, do you say, hey guys, I need to go because you really want to hunt in that other area, which I've done before, or you can say, no, I already got a group, I'm sorry guys, just go to the next person on the list, which they'll do as well. So I didn't even notice this guy was saying something. I feel a little bad for ignoring him. Let me say something now. But yeah, so you don't take it personally if they take a few minutes or a few moments to reply back. They may not even be looking down there to see that you said something. They may be busy healing, having a conversation of their own, things of that sort. So just give them a minute. Plus, don't be creeped out if they sit there and wait. You know, there's not a whole lot for a person to do if they can't find a group. At higher levels anyway. Some people really don't like soloing. I'm one of those people, so should level with these two, I would imagine. So one's yellow and one's even. Kill it already. I want my level. Oh, come on. That didn't level me. I don't know how many times I've gotten it, like, where it's literally 99.9% into the level, and you think you're going to level any moment. The next kill, the next kill, the next kill. And finally it is the next kill. Level 5, guys. So we're going to go ahead and end the video there, and I'll go ahead and scribe my new spells for the next video. If you're looking forward to that, I hope you guys will come back tomorrow and check it out. Again, guys, I want to thank you for watching these videos. You know, you are what make these videos happen, what makes it worth doing. Your comments, your participation, really shape and determine where I'm going with these videos. So if you do like these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe, and again guys, I want to thank you for watching.